Are you 65 or turning 65 soon? Then you need to give Medicare expert Myriam and her dream team at United Insurance Experts a call today. They specialize in Medicare and will guide you in making the right choice for your specific needs. One plan doesn't fit all. United Insurance Experts offer you choices: Blue Cross, Humana, Aetna, United Healthcare, and many, many more. Call Myriam at United Insurance Experts at 561-464-CARE. That's 561-464-2273. Medicare can be very confusing. Myriam is here to help. Call Myriam today at 561-464-CARE. That's 561-464-2273. Myriam will educate you with no obligation on your part. Or visit UnitedInsuranceExperts.com. 561-464-CARE or UnitedInsuranceExperts.com. United Insurance Experts is headquartered in Boca Raton and licensed nationally, speaks English, Portuguese, and Spanish. Good morning and welcome to Medicare Made Simple with Medicare Myriam. Medicare Made Simple is brought to you by United Insurance Experts. Call today 561-464-CARE. That's 561-464-CARE. Now here's Medicare Myriam.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. I'm your host, Myriam Leyva with United Insurance Experts. United Insurance Experts is not affiliated with or endorsed by the government or the federal Medicare program. We do not offer every plan available in your area. Right now in Palm Beach County, we represent 10 organizations that offer 49 different products. To get information on all of your options, please log on to Medicare.gov or call 1-800-MEDICARE. So today I'm going to remind you guys about the annual election period. It runs from October 15th through December 7th. This is an important time for those that want to make a change. So again, during this time, you'll be able to make a switch from one Medicare Advantage plan to another. You can switch one prescription drug to another prescription drug, or you can drop your Medicare Advantage plan and go to original Medicare, or vice versa, right? I do want to let you know that if you decide to drop your Medicare Advantage plan during this time and you go back to original Medicare, make sure you qualify for a Medicare supplement plan. So do that before dropping your Medicare Advantage plan. And that's so important because you don't want to drop that Medicare Advantage plan be January 1st and now you can't enroll in a supplement plan, because if you don't have that Medicare supplement covering the gaps of original Medicare, what's going to happen is you're going to be responsible for the gaps. And what are the gaps? The Part B 20% and the deductible of Part A. So it's very important that before you drop that Medicare Advantage plan that you make sure that you actually qualify for a Medicare supplement plan. So again, it's simple, just review. My advice is for you to always review what you have. Doesn't matter if you're happy, if there's no changes going on, talk to your licensed agent. If you have one that you trust, just reach out to them. Start reaching out to them now. If you don't have a trusted agent that you're working with right now, you're welcome to call United Insurance Experts, 561-464-2273. That number again is 561-464-2273. So after years of helping clients, I've noticed some common mistakes people make during this time of year, and I want to help you avoid them. So one of the biggest mistakes that I've seen is people don't review their annual notice of change. So by this time, you should have already received a notice of change from your carrier, letting you know of the changes that are happening next year. So let's say your medications are no longer being covered and you don't make a change, January 1st, you're not going to be able to fill your prescription drugs. That's why it's so important that you review the notice of change. If you have not received this letter from your carrier, there's a couple things you can do. If, let's say you're with XYZ company, log into your account with that company, you should be able to go under notifications and see what they've mailed out to you, which is the notice of change. If you don't see it there, you can call the back of the card and I'm sure they'll be happy to send you that information. If we are your agents, please reach out to us and we'll help you with that. Another mistake that I see is assuming no change means no action needed. It's always good to review your plan and make sure it continues to make sense. If you miss, another mistake is missing the annual election period. I've seen this happen many times. People think it goes all the way through December 31st. It does not. The annual election period ends December 7th. If on December 7th you did not make a change, on December 8th you can't make a change. Okay, so that means that on January 1st, you're going to continue with that same plan you've had all this year. Unless it's going away, that's a different story. But if it's not, you're going to continue on, and unless you have a special enrollment period, you're going to be stuck with it for 2026. Another issue I see is relying solely on a friend or a neighbor, right? I love my neighbor, but we don't have the same needs, right? Just because the plan works for your neighbor, it does not mean it works for you. Make sure you speak to a licensed agent. Go over your needs with them. Make sure they completely understand what you're looking for, right? That your doctors are in the network, that your prescriptions are being covered. This is highly important, right? And I'm going back to the whole neighbor and friend situation. Just because your neighbor's happy with that plan, it doesn't mean that you're going to be happy. Why? Because we all have different needs. Sometimes I work with couples in the same household and I put them on different plans. Why? Because they're seeing different doctors, because they're taking different prescription drugs. So again, it's very important that you review this, and we love our neighbors, but please make sure you review your plan and make sure it makes sense. Another mistake is choosing based on extra perks. I see this a lot. I know a lot of these Medicare Advantage plans offer additional benefits, which is great, like the gym membership, the extra dental perk, the vision care, the over-the-counter credits. Some offer you a Part B give back, which is all great, but that's not all. You have to make sure that your drugs, your doctors are being covered before you select this plan. And listen, it's great if it's giving you the perks and it's covering your doctors. That's great. Make sure you go with that plan if that's the case, because it's just covering all your needs and it's giving you the perks that you need. Remember, during this time, you're being bombarded with phone calls, with mail. Do not give your Medicare number out to strangers, okay? If you have someone randomly calling you and asking for your Medicare number, please make sure they're a licensed agent before you just give out this information to them. This is highly important because I've seen a lot of people out there being scammed by people. You shouldn't be giving out your Medicare number, giving out your social. So again, be careful out there. So Medicare decisions go hand in hand with your overall financial well-being. The choices you make now can affect your budget, savings, and peace of mind in retirement. And that's why I'm so excited for today's guest. Joining me today is the amazing Diana Monsalve, financial advisor with Camelot Wealth Management Partners, a private wealth advisory practice of Ameriprise Financial Services right here in Boca Raton. Diana works closely with individuals and families to help them create financial plans that align with their goals from retirement income and beyond. I'm thrilled to have her here to talk about how Medicare and smart financial planning come together, especially for women in retirement. Welcome, Diana.
Thank you, Miriam.
So I know you've been doing this for a while, and I think this is a question a lot of us women ask ourselves, because I think women suffer from this.
Absolutely.
So from a financial planning perspective, how big a role should Medicare expenses play in someone's retirement budget?
It is a huge role, Miriam. We have studies that show that if you want to be 90% certain you are going to cover all of your expenses, your medical expenses at retirement, you have to save about $413,000. So if you are not educated, if you don't have a plan in place when it comes to Medicare, it could significantly impact your retirement.
And I'm sure that just goes up from year to year. That's like $413,000 today. About
Absolutely.
Next year, it's just going to go $500,000. Then it could go up to $1 million. Like when I'm retiring, I'm going to need like $2 million.
Exactly.
So that is crazy. Now, I'm sure you see this a lot. How many do you say, I don't even know if this is a statistic out there, actually have that money in place?
There is a good population that does have that amount of money. A lot of people do not. What has happened is that we have seen maybe Social Security as our retirement bucket. And everybody kind of thinks that that is where they're going to retire comfortably, and then they don't save accordingly. And so you end up at retirement realizing Social Security is not enough. I mean, it was meant to be a supplement. It wasn't meant to be your main source of retirement income.
I'm glad you point that out.
Yes.
Because for the longest time, I always thought, oh, okay, retirement, Social Security, that should cover my expenses. Now, being in the field, or in the field that I am, I see that it's not. So I'm glad you pointed that out. It's a supplement. It's an addition to.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people see it as a primary.
Absolutely.
As your main. So I'm glad you pointed that out, because at least for me, that's the way I saw it.
Yeah.
When seniors are deciding between Medicare Advantage and a Medicare supplement plan, how does that decision affect their financial security?
I mean, Miriam, you're the expert here.
Well, tell me I know. But in your perspective, what have you seen?
What have I seen? I think that they need to understand the flexibility. Once they're enrolled, they need to know how the plans work. I think that's just that
education.
And we've done that. Yes. I have had clients that had to get educated in Medicare, and I have brought you on and had that conversation. And I tell you that once you dropped off the line and I stayed with my clients, they just mentioned how confident they felt of having that conversation, because education, that's where the key is.
That's the key. Exactly. And what we see, because, when you have a senior deciding between a Medicare Advantage and a Medicare supplement, they're both a little different, right? That Medicare supplement requires that monthly premium. Right. And they have to account for it based on their budget. And that's what I see a lot with a lot of seniors. They're in a fixed income, and they're like, Miriam, I can't afford that $300, $350 a month supplement. And as you know, they go up every year. Absolutely. Right? Am I going to be able to continue to pay that supplement?
Absolutely.
And with Medicare Advantage, most of them are zero. That's why more than 63% of America today are on a Medicare Advantage plan, because they would rather say, they'd rather be on that $0 a month plan and just pay as they go. Absolutely. So yeah, we definitely see that in my perspective. So what's the biggest financial mistake you see retirees make when healthcare planning?
Not educating themselves, as we said, but also just trusting the ideas or sometimes misinformation that we receive, and you mentioned this before, from friends and family. Because essentially everybody's situation is different. So what may have worked for me not necessarily is going to work for you. Right. And so when somebody that it is not what they do for a living wants to give advice on XYZ, they are only accounting for the knowledge that they have based on their own experience and their own situation. So that's why I think it's very important to sit down with a financial advisor and have those conversations so that we can analyze your specific situation. So I think that that's one of the biggest mistakes, to just not sit with a professional.
Right. Definitely go by what the neighbors or your friends or even other family members.
Absolutely.
Because everybody has a unique situation.
And they don't come from, it's not that it's an ill-intended, advice. It's just you really do need the whole picture. Right.
And I'm sure your neighbor's happy with that plan.
Exactly.
So yeah, I'm glad you pointed out sit with a financial planner. Is that how would that look like, sitting with a financial planner? Do you go over what their needs are?
Absolutely. So the way I work with my clients is I not only do asset management, which is actually looking at an account that they have and having it meet their goals according to their risk tolerance, but I also do goal-based financial planning. Okay. And that entitles your whole picture. We see what your assets are, if you do have liabilities, what that number looks like. What are your liabilities are going to look like at retirement if we are planning ahead? Because I have clients that are 5 years from retirement, just like I have some that are 20 years from retirement. So being able to just have the whole picture, as I mentioned. So I do a kind of a 3-month launch of capturing what the whole financial picture looks like. And then we have, I have that consistent connection.
Okay.
Because I think that accountability is a big factor in making sure that you reach your financial goals. Not just set it, but set it and see if you're on track.
Right.
See if you are meeting the strategy that you set in place, if you're actually living up to it. Right. So saving accordingly, and even to take the consideration those additional expenses that you were mentioning for Medicare, planning for that payment. Including it, looking at expenses is a big thing that we look at, making sure what are your expenses today, what are your expenses going to look at when you do retire, and make sure that we're meeting that goal.
And the sooner the better, right? The sooner you start planning, the better it is.
The best day to start is yesterday.
Exactly.
The next best is today. So
exactly. So start planning, guys.
Yes.
Start planning if you don't have it. If you have it in place, that's great. I'm happy. I need to start planning, that's for sure. So let's talk about women, retirement, and healthcare. What should women keep in mind when planning for Medicare and healthcare? I know you kind of mentioned that, but women, if we go into a women's perspective, what?
So I think women specifically that are close to retirement now come from a generation where husbands really did take care of finances.
Yes, I've seen that.
So nowadays, the generations that are kind of starting to build, maybe it's a different mentality. But if you're closer to retirement, I have found a lot of women that end up either widowed or divorced. And unfortunately, they're in a situation where it's the very first time that they tackle their expenses. Yeah. So everybody's different, but they just don't know the intricate details of what goes into their financial health. Yes. And so I think for women, it's being able to, I always go back to that, just pair up with somebody. Pair up with somebody that knows, because in this case,
pair with Diana.
It doesn't necessarily have to be me,
but with a professional, but yes.
I'm willing. But absolutely, I think that's just one of the situations that women in different generations, it's different, but women that are closer to retirement right now find themselves in that situation. Yes. And therefore, we need to kind of take charge. Not be afraid. I would tell you, don't be afraid.
Yeah.
And just kind of take charge of the task. And and there's tools out here. So
for sure. And Diana will share those tools with you for sure. So what unique challenges do women face in retirement that you've seen, and how can they better prepare? I know we talked about this, but in if you could share a story of what you've seen.
I don't know if I have a specific one that comes to mind, but let's see, retirement.
A challenge. For example, I came across one where her husband suddenly passed away, and she had no clue that she had to enroll in Medicare.
Okay.
And when she had a meeting with me, which was a year after her initial enrollment, she was penalized. And she didn't understand why she will have this. Why does she have a penalty if she just went through a loss?
Absolutely.
But the loss of her husband was not enough for them to waive that penalty.
Absolutely.
And it was just, we filed appeals. We did everything we could to try to get this penalty waived. But unfortunately, it wasn't enough. And I always share this story because I think that's a mistake. We rely on others to do these important things. And in her case, her husband did everything.
That's what we just talked about.
Yeah,
yep.
Like you mentioned. And I've seen it. And it's just so sad. We have to take control, like you said. We have to, for important things like this. And our Medicare, our financial being is very important. to take charge of, especially us women. Definitely with my husband's a little different. Like, I'm in control. I take care of all of my finances. So I'll be ready for when I'm retired.
Oh, no, I'm sure you will be.
Yes.
And that's okay. I think we can tap into our kind of like our talents.
Yes.
And if you are good at being in charge of the money, whether you're the woman or the man, I mean, that's the best.
right.
I think that definitely when it comes to married couples, it's not just, hey, you're better, you should do it. I think it should be, you're better, you lead it, but let me be part of the decision-making process.
Love that.
Because that way, God forbid something were to happen,
Yes.
I know. I know where I
Exactly.
am. Oh, I know where this document is. Oh, I know how this works. Oh, we do have this in place.
Yes.
So I think that, yeah, I mean, if she would have, if in this example
Yes.
that you had with your client, if she would have had that conversation with her husband,
Yes.
her husband would have passed unexpectedly, and she would have known. I remember he told me how important it was for me to enroll in Medicare.
Right.
So I think just those conversations, and it doesn't have to be, it's I think just the communication between partners when it comes to your finances, that is the most important.
Communication, for sure. Now, if a woman becomes widowed, like in the story that I shared, or divorced, what financial steps should she take first to protect herself?
Okay. So we kind of talked about the widowed.
Right.
In that case, we would say, hopefully you have all of the documents and you have a place and you know where everything is, right? When it comes to a divorce, it's a completely different scenario, and the steps that you take should look differently. When, unfortunately, obviously we don't plan for divorce, but divorces can be very complicated, or they could be very, hey, let's just amicable. I think that's the word. One of the major things that you should think about if you're in that situation is when you consult a financial advisor should be before you sign documents, not after. So a lot of times, if you wait for a settlement, right? You wait, you sign all of the papers, your divorce papers, and then you seek the financial advisor, you miss out on an evaluation of what would have been the best way to separate those assets.
Oh, that's great.
So I think you should see a financial professional
Before you sign those documents,
sign,
for sure.
because
yes.
it's not just assets aren't, dollar amounts are not equal when it comes to the type of accounts that you have. So I think just if you're in a divorce situation, seek advice before. That's just my key. I think that that's one of the key things, whether you're a woman or a man.
Right.
I think you should definitely.
I'm all about girl power, but
yes. Because different accounts are different. There's before tax accounts, there's after tax accounts, and they have different value. So I think that would be a major step to take.
That's good. Now, how should, I know we're running short on time here. I could talk to you forever.
Me too.
Thank you. How should retirees prepare financially for those costs? Like, what can they be doing right now, aside from calling you and setting everything up, right?
I'm going to say, for the fifth time,
Yes.
contact us. No,
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest strategies we use is, or not strategies, concepts are to have different buckets that have different purposes.
Yeah.
So you want a short-term emergency fund, a midterm, and a long-term. Right. And so that would be a great one. Making sure you have an emergency fund in place is a very big first step. And then so forth. Each bucket kind of has its own purpose. So you just want to have that in place, I would say. That would be one of my...
Perfect. Have your buckets filled.
Yes. You want to have short-term,
Short-term,
midterm, long-term,
long-term.
and they all need to have their own purpose.
Yes.
So talking about long-term care is something many people don't think about until it's too late. But planning for it early can save families financial security. And I think you can agree with that because I see it a lot on my end. Any advice on long-term care?
Long-term care is just like Medicare. really important to take in mind, to foresee what it's going to look like. So I can't really tell you, hey, you should get it, because again, every situation's different. But it is a conversation to have. I think you should look into it if it is appropriate.
Is key. Make sure you talk to a financial advisor on what works best. Now, Dana, how can someone reach you? What's the best number or website?
Yeah. So our office number is 561-372-0345. We are Camelot Wealth Management, as you mentioned in the beginning. We're powered by Ameriprise Financial. We're in Boca Raton, so you can look us up. AmeripriseAdvisors.com/Diana.Monsalve, I believe, would take you directly to my website.
Now, do you mind repeating that number one more time?
Sure. 561-372-0345.
Dana, thank you so much for being with us today.
My pleasure.
It's been
Thank you
wonderful.
for having me.
Of course. Thank you. Now, remember, knowledge is power, especially when it comes to your health and your wealth. Thank you again for tuning in. You have a wonderful day.
Thanks for listening to Medicare Made Simple with Medicare Myriam right here on Legends 100.3. Medicare Made Simple is brought to you by United Insurance Experts. For more information, call 561-464-CARE. That's 561-464-CARE. Tune in next Saturday at 9 a.m. for more Medicare Made Simple with Medicare Myriam. Are you 65 or turning 65 soon? Then you need to give Medicare expert Myriam and her dream team at United Insurance Experts a call today. They specialize in Medicare and will guide you in making the right choice for your specific needs. One plan doesn't fit all. United Insurance Experts offer you choices: Blue Cross, Humana, Aetna, United Healthcare, and many, many more. Call Myriam at United Insurance Experts at 561-464-CARE. That's 561-464-2273. Medicare can be very confusing. Myriam is here to help. Call Myriam today at 561-464-CARE. That's 561-464-2273. Myriam will educate you with no obligation on your part. Or visit UnitedInsuranceExperts.com. 561-464-CARE or UnitedInsuranceExperts.com. United Insurance Experts is headquartered in Boca Raton and licensed nationally, speaks English, Portuguese, and Spanish.